Hey everyone, welcome. Pretty much what I've got here is the assessment breakdown for Air New Zealand jet and turboprop fleet. Generally, when people approach me for any sort of interview help, I like to go through all the different assessments and just have a chat about what's required, how to prepare for it, and what to focus on. Either way, what I'm going to do is I'm putting this video out online now for free, and hopefully it helps everyone out there to get a job with Air New Zealand, going for any fleet. Basically, I've been helping people for the last year and a half with their assessments for multiple airlines these days, but I do find that a very high success rate with the Air New Zealand pilots, and I'm just trying to provide as much useful information out there. If you go to the links on the website, the assessment page information breakdown has a lot more information with very similar questions, a lot of feedback from other applicants, and basically I'm just trying to provide as much factual information as well as give out a lot of free advice when you do sign up. So yeah, I hope it is helpful. If you have any questions, you're welcome to comment below or send me an email or through the website. When I'm not flying, I try and try and reply to as many emails as possible. Sometimes people do slip through the gaps, so just keep hounding me down. And the other thing I will be working on soon is more of a type rating guide, so trying to give as much information out to the successful applicants before they start their training. I know a lot of people out there say, oh, don't learn anything, they're going to teach you everything, but I do find that if you can have a general gist of what's required, training time frames, as well as maybe some memory items or such, if you have been given the type that you'll be flying, is very helpful. Either way, we're going to go through all the various assessments now. So we'll go through various assessments such as the technical, the planning, the group exercise, simulator, as well as the HR interview, and then also the meet and greet, which isn't actually in this slide, but we'll just have a general chat about it as well. This is very basic, and the assessments do change, so this isn't hard written what you will receive in your assessment. Obviously, they like to change things as applicants do tend to rope learn. The other thing I like to do is I do get a thrill, and I do really enjoy working with certain individuals online. I do the one-on-one coaching, and that's generally via Skype or WhatsApp, and that's just helping people with their answers as well as the scenario building, because it is very important to take your experience and apply it to what's relevant and figure out how to answer some of the common questions that they do have on the HR side of it. Either way, generally Air New Zealand, I've been seeing individuals with about just over 500 hours, which is the minimum to apply going for the turboprop, as well as applicants with a lot of experience from various airlines, Cathay, Emirates, over in the States, coming back to Air New Zealand and going for the jet application side of it. The assessments themselves are the same for the turboprop and the jet. Obviously, the jet they expect a little bit more with the sim side of it, and the questions can be varying depending on the applicant. However, I have been helping applicants who've been flying GA all over New Zealand, instructors, as well as Australian pilots, and then there's also been that influx of jet applicants as well. So it's been a really great privilege to work with everyone, and I have really enjoyed it, and I hope to continue helping people. So let's get to it either way. Pretty much what's going to happen is you're going to have your assessment on the Thursday, Friday, and you're going to have 2 days. You will get your date, which you'll meet everyone downstairs, and from there they're going to take you upstairs to one of the briefing rooms, classrooms, and there will be a snack plate type thing there. And then what you're going to do is, with the various amounts of applicants, generally it can be anywhere from like 4 to 12, you'll sit down and all the assessors will come through that day. There'll be a lot of various different assessors for the different assessments, and they'll introduce themselves and tell you what they do in New Zealand, Air New Zealand, and a little bit about their experience. And then they'll go around the room, and all the applicants will also introduce themselves and tell everyone a little bit of information about themselves, including what they're flying, where they're flying, their experience, where they live, and what they're hoping to achieve, hopefully. During that initial greeting, they'll give you your schedule for the 2 days. Now that changes, so I always tell applicants to have their planning, their tech, their simulator, and their HR interview already studied for and prepped, because just plan for the worst. And in that case, it would be the simulator, the interview, and the tech. So expect to get that on the first day. If you don't, perfect, take the night off or just read through some of your notes, and then the second day you'll get hit with everything else. But so prepare for the worst, and from there they'll give you your schedule, and that schedule obviously does change, as well as there's always some weather, too windy over the bridge going to Auckland, there could be delays, so they try and finish you up early on the last day, and that way you could even possibly catch an earlier flight. Either way, they will come and take individuals as required with the technical and the planning. They'll take maybe 4 or 5 people at a time, whatever's required, and then you'll go into a briefing room, and there'll be an assessor there watching, gives you the rundown of the tech quiz, like on this slide, 30 questions, 20 minutes, no calculators, and it's basic ATPL information. The reason Air New Zealand do this is pretty much because some applicants don't have their Air New Zealand ATPLs, whereas in Australia, a lot of the applicants going for an FO turbine position will have their ATPLs completed. It's not hard. The website does contain a lot of useful information and very similar questions, as well as there are some Quizlet sets out there if you head on to Google and just type. Some individuals have made them up, and I find generally a lot of the New Zealanders, they have already got the information passed on from friends and online access, and so they do generally rope learn a lot of the questions. People will leave early as they already know most of the answers. Just a tip would be probably move on if you don't know the question or the answer to the question. There are some very hard mathematical questions there that you will see on the website, and it's probably best to try and work them out prior to actually going in there, because there's no chance you'd ever learn or be able to do it just by mental arithmetic. So if you don't know the answer to the question, just move on, because they're all worth the same mark. Apart from that, you are welcome to finish early and then head to the briefing room. Flight planning exam, they've got a couple of different varying flight plans. However, they're going to give you a lot of information, and it's going to require you to work out the longest duty or the shortest duty time you could work during that day, or what's the quickest time you could return to your destination. And what's going to happen is they'll give you a flight plan generally. They may have a table that needs data to be filled in, and it'll be you're flying from point A to point B. However, you have an emergency or an issue with the aircraft, and then you're required to divert. Now, because of that diversion, you'll have to obviously use more fuel. There will be certain ports that they give you and alternates that don't have fuel, or some that have flight attendants, some that have maintenance crew, and it'll be, you have to figure out, okay, how do I get to point B, and do I have to go C or D, and what's the best way to get there? I don't know the answers to any of these. Obviously, the website has a couple of feedback notes from applicants and myself on the website, and they'll give you a general gist. Just a tip for this would be to read all 4 pages, because there will be information on that 4th page that, or even during the 2nd and the 3rd, that you have missed. You'll go through again and you'll realize. Now, if you do make an error, just note it down and continue working. The most important thing for this type of plan is they're trying to see what type of information processing skills you have, and they don't want to see anyone give up either. So just try your best. Now, if you have come from an airline, you do probably have a little bit more experience of what's required, and thinking about flight and duty times, engineering, and the mental math side of it is very basic. The fuel flows will increase by about 10%. So don't stress too hard on that stuff. The simulator. So this is a big assessment as part of your assessment days. It's roughly about 40 minutes long. Applicants do fail. Recently, Air New Zealand has been giving applicants a repeat, and I have had an applicant repeat just the simulator a couple of weeks later, due to maybe his experience levels and doing really well and everything else. So definitely try and seek some simulator preparation, if that's Microsoft Flight Sim, Flyajet in Auckland, Christchurch, or any sort of simulator prep you can get your hands on. The ATR and the 777 are the simulators they use. Sometimes one of them isn't working, and that's dependent on the day, so you may get either one. Generally, I find simulator for the 777, it will be jet applicants, and the assessment is very much the same for all applicants. Just for the jet applicants, expect to maybe be held high on the glide slope, and they'll want you to correct and get back onto the glide slope. The profile itself is on the website, and some feedback notes from applicants. All simulator assessments are the same pretty much. They're going to want to just see your handling skills, your scan, and your IFR knowledge. They will ask you questions during the simulator and trying to break you, and pretty much you'll learn some MCC skills during your simulator preparation. That's generally what I leave for the instructor side of it. However, try and get used to asking your pilot monitoring to set headings, set altitudes, give you call outs, as well as I also like the applicants to ask for checklists after they've got the flaps up or just prior to the approach, and it just shows a bit of initiative. The breakdown for assessments for the simulator: you're going to do climbing, turning, outbound, inbound intercepts. You're going to do a hold, and then from the hold you will also be asked to intercept the ILS, fly down the glide slope in the ILS, conduct the landing. I haven't seen anyone or heard anyone have to do a missed approach. Recently, the DME arc has been asked to be flown, so that called an applicant out. That's probably the hardest part of the assessment, is the DME arc, so try and get that done in your practice sim as well. The holding pattern, sometimes individuals get a little bit confused with that. However, it's just a standard sector 1, 2, or 3 entry. They'll get you to draw it out prior to conducting this. So they'll pause the sim, they ask you where you are. You'll use the RMI needles, Auckland VOR, to say, hey, I'm in this point. And then from there, they'll say, okay, I would like you to intercept this track, and then enter the hold. Once you've done that and they're happy with that, then you'll go and intercept the ILS for the Auckland approach. They'll send you all the information a couple of days prior to your assessment. Definitely get online, have a look at the profiles there, and do some some simulator preparation. The next exercise is the team building exercise. That changes, and what they're trying to do here is just see how you involve and communicate with others. It's not necessarily about achieving an outcome, but it's about everyone being inclusive, working together, and communicating well. Generally, always remember to have someone who times in this assessment. It's always, everyone jumps in, wants to start working out the problem, but they've given you a time limit of 5 minutes or 10 minutes, 4 minutes. So it's good to dedicate certain individuals, one for timing, one as a leader, one for taking notes, and then generally the leader will have to present at the end, or that's how it generally is with group exercise. So there is no right or wrong with taking a certain position. Some people are natural leaders, others prefer to be a bit more reserved. But what's important is just making sure you all communicate together and asking others on their opinion and what they think, and if you all agree to proceed with that opinion. So for instance, if I was the leader, I would say, Tom, what do you think we should do? And Tom would give me his opinion, and I might say, oh, John, do you agree with Tom? Things like that to show that you're progressive, you're including others, you like to communicate ideas with each other, and then once everyone's 100% on that, they can execute it and review it. So once again, after that team building exercise, someone will present it. With the team building as well, there's a couple of different ones on the website. Yeah, they vary and they're very fun as well. There's nothing, it's not a scary exercise. It's the end of the day. And after that, you'll go into the meet and greet with the chief pilots and some of the sim instructors and such. So the other assessment I didn't talk about was the logbook assessment, and that's when they're going to make sure you have all the right theory, licenses, medical, hours, and just verify everything. And that will just be very basic, will be with one of the pilot assessors. For the interview for both the ATR and the JET applicants, it's generally 40 to 60 minutes. It's conducted with pilots. There'll be 3 pilots in the room. They'll go and introduce themselves, and then after that, it will pretty much be your stage to run the show, and they will ask you pretty much to tell them about yourself or your career to date. They will have copies of your resume there, so they will go through your resume and try and ask multiple questions. Generally very similar questions to most applicants get, but they may be service-based, leadership-based. Tell us about this current role. Tell us about stress that you had to encounter during your role as a pilot or a shop assistant, or anything that you put on your resume. So do make sure you go through the timelines that you have on your resume, the jobs that you have put down, and also put any sort of achievements that you have done, because Air New Zealand aren't just looking for pilots, they're looking for applicants who do other things outside of their role as a pilot, and they're just trying to see what type of attitudes and culture that you're going to bring to the company. They're generally looking for very motivated, hardworking individuals who are going to get through their type rating training. So if you head to the website, there are obviously feedback interviews from other applicants. There's very similar questions. I always post the questions and the feedback as soon as I get it. If you do end up working with me, or you have worked with me previously, and you do have anything you think that I have missed out, or you've been on the website and you didn't end up sending any sort of feedback, please do. I love hearing from everyone, and I love hearing from pilots who are currently online and seeing how they're enjoying it. So yeah, if there's anything you feel that could benefit others or help others, please comment below or send me an email and I'll put it on the website. If you haven't worked with me before, head to the website, send me an email. I'm open book for a lot of it. I'm always willing to help individuals, and I love mentoring other people. So please don't be shy to ask any sort of questions. I have recently reduced the price of the website access for Air New Zealand applicants. And generally, if an applicant gives me any sort of feedback or a write-up, I do like to help them with any sort of other airline information they need. And that's just something I will keep on doing to build the community. A lot of exciting stuff coming up with Easy Aviation Theory. So jump on board, become a community member, ask for help. And there's a lot of individuals that I'm sure would love to help you along your way to success. So once again, thank you for listening and watching this video, and please comment below if you have any questions.